This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Spring rain brings summer pain, will rebuild again. She sang and from the porch it rang. She's calling me in. Caught in the heat of the mid-afternoon, your eyes were a storm.
Is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it, and so do I. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Wednesday, which makes them whip them out Wednesday, August the 5th. Of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
With streams so crisp that you can feel the sarcasm in your ear holes. Radio Big.
Oh, yes, hanging out with our friends at Radio Big, us doing the stuff here on Safety FM, so a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Hopefully everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods, because I like to do stuff where we get to hang out together, so that's for sure. So let me tell you how we do our thing. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. If you haven't, well, that's kind of how we do our gig. If you want to interact with the show, it's simple to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com to get everything moving and grooving. That's just kind of how it goes. That is the whole kit and caboodle in regard to the things that are going on. So that's it. That is the whole gigger. So with that being said, let's start talking about how we do everything here. So I do bring in some professional broadcasters. They talk about what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse. I come back with some level of a main story, and then we kind of run from there. That's kind of how we do the whole thing. And I give you the clippings of everything that's going on. You get to interact. Callinradio.com, audio, video, text messaging as previously discussed. And that's how we're running. We're running the whole time with that whole thing. So there you go. Yep, that's it. So I do have my friends from Feature Story News ready to go talk about what the hell's going on inside of the world of the news cycles. So let's go ahead and get them all started up, and we'll get that moving right here on the Rated R Safety Show, because I think it'll be the easiest way to get us all started. And just to be clear here, the reason we talk about so many news stories is because I want you to have something topical to talk about as you are kind of going through the whole thing. Because if you start talking about safety right away, to most people, they're going to be like, huh? So this way you have something topical to talk about. So, a human interest part before we go into everything a little bit darker, a little bit deeper, if you know what I'm saying there. So let's go ahead and get the news started right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Neha, Punya. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio says there has been movement towards reopening the Strait of Hormuz, while Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has suggested a deal with Iran could come within hours. But shipping analysts say fewer than 10 vessels a day are currently transiting the blockaded waterway. Nick Harper has more from Washington.
We heard from the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, today. He said that there had been progress, but there was not finality yet. He said, we're hoping that will happen very shortly. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, gave a bit more specificity in terms of the timeline. He said we may have a deal today or tomorrow, so that's Tuesday or Wednesday. Really, the question is all of this true? Donald Trump, again, suggesting we're very close to a deal. Once again, his top officials talking up the possibility of a deal. The deal hasn't yet happened, and we have seen this happen time and again. All those officials and the president talking up the possibility of a deal, the markets increasing, and then no deal coming to fruition. What we do know, though, that is true, that's Donald Trump's latest threats made on Monday, saying that this was the last chance for Iran to make a deal, a last chance before it could potentially face, in his words, decapitation.
Oil has fallen to a 3-week low as US officials talk about a possible deal with Iran to reopen that key waterway. SpaceX has also released its first ever quarterly earnings report as a publicly traded company. And as Mitch McCann reports, all of this contributed to the S&P 500 reaching a new record and the Dow Jones finishing above 54,000 for the first time.
Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 scaled to new highs. The Dow Jones was up over 54,000 at the close, at 1.71% in the green. The S&P 500 was up 1.79%, and the Nasdaq was up. A strong performance for the Nasdaq on Tuesday, up 2.59%. And there were a range of factors that led to the record gains that we saw on Wall Street on Tuesday. And the first is the comments made by the Treasury Secretary earlier in the day concerning the war in Iran, referring to the Strait of Hormuz. So optimism there for investors, while Brent crude also fell from Monday's high of $83.20.
More than 70 people are dead. More than 60,000 arrived, all in less than 48 hours. Ross Cullen filing this report on how Spain's latest immigration crisis unfolded and why the nation's tiny enclave in Morocco has become central to Europe's migration debate.
The sudden migrant surge was equivalent to 70% of Ceuta's population of around 85,000 people. Within those 2 days, the city received more than 23 times the number of irregular migrants it had recorded in the whole of the first half of this year. The massive influx overwhelmed local authorities, triggered a humanitarian emergency, and threatened relations between Morocco, Spain, and the European Union. By Friday, Spain started sending the migrants back to Morocco by the thousands.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, what's next for FIFA's leader Gianni Infantino after he shelved plans to privatise parts of the organisation's tournaments, including the World Cup? David Bernstein, a former head of England's FA, says the world of soccer must keep the pressure on.
I would take this one stage further. UEFA threatening to boycott the World Cup if that terrible proposal wasn't withdrawn was very, very important. I think they should continue with that threat, that if Infantino continues as president, that threat to withdraw the World Cup should stay in place, because the two issues are completely interconnected now. I mean, he's very resilient and he's a tough guy, but I think there's a groundswell, a momentum of support here, both against Infantino, both from within FIFA, and we saw his right-hand man, Kevin Lamour, go last week, and from many, many, many outside. I think that will prove irresistible, whether he resigns or whether there's a vote of no confidence, or whether it goes to next year to an election, which I presume he would lose.
And on Tuesday, FIFA's chief of global political development, Arsene Wenger, broke his silence. The former Arsenal manager said it was absolutely necessary and beyond question for Infantino's plan to be withdrawn. He said he had no involvement in drawing up the proposal and learnt about it from the media. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. Top Trump government officials are suggesting a peace deal with Iran could be ready by Wednesday, even as oil has fallen to a 3-week low as US officials also talk about reopening the Strait of Hormuz. And that is the latest feature story news. Neha, Punya reporting.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp-speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, PhD. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking. Rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety transmission. The Collapse of the Construct, now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, PhD. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 14 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Whip About Wednesday. So let's start talking about some things that are going on. So you already kind of heard some of that stuff. Some of the stuff that is going on. I have to tell you, we have to start off with one of these weird news stories. because that's kind of what we do. So have you heard, I mean, and I'm sure you have, that there's a new Spider-Man movie? Like, have you heard this? Just in case. I just want to make sure. It's the #1 movie in America currently. But a screening of Spider-Man Brand New Day in Colombia came to an unexpected halt when a powerful mystery odor forced moviegoers to evacuate the theater. Video from the scene shows the confused patrons, including one dressed as Spider-Man, gathering in the lobby after the smell became too much to handle. No official cause has been confirmed, but witnesses described the odor as an overwhelming flatulent smell. The leading theories range from moviegoers was the unfortunate medical issue to someone's setting off a prank stink bomb. Neither the theater nor local authorities have commented, leaving the mystery unsolved and proving that Spider-Man Adventure had one villain nobody saw coming. Talk about marvelous gas leak. And then the first time Spider-Man cleared the theater without fighting a bad guy. So there you go. I don't know. The theater went from IMAX to I'm out. So that, I don't know. A lot of stuff going on right there. What a weird time, right? I don't know. It just gets weird. Weird and weird and weird and weird and weird. So should we start talking? I think we should start talking about some other stuff that is going on. I'm going to give you 2 back-to-back that should probably never go back-to-back, but we'll do it anyways. Yesterday on NBC Today, a doctor talked about what you can do to protect yourself from this new food parasite. Take a listen.
We know cyclospora, you can contract it through contaminated food or contaminated water. So it's very important to make sure you're washing your hands thoroughly before and after eating, also after going to the bathroom, because that's one of the ways it's transmitted. And you also want to make sure with produce, you're very careful. You're washing it thoroughly under running water. If it has a firm outer shell, like a cucumber or melon, you can use the scrubbing brush. Make sure you wash the brush as well. And cooking is always a safe way to go. Cooking your produce rather than having it raw, particularly be careful of the pre-washed, cut leafy greens and things. You want to wash them again, or for now, maybe just avoid those bags altogether.
Okay, so there you go. That's how you can protect yourself from this. I guess in kind of a weird twist of things to talk about, it is National Underwear Day. Yeah, I think that might be important. Here's a montage.
Girls, I bought a lot of underwear for my boys. Surprise, Emma!
Your underwear.
You're like my favorite underwear.
Shotgun Willie sits around in his underwear.
Hey, when you get to some of these things, you have to talk about it in that particular format in just regards to going on. So it is National Underwear Day. And just in case there wasn't enough excitement about it, let's give you a second round.
What the hell is that?
A dress.
It looks like underwear.
See, every year the seniors have to parade around the campus wearing women's underwear. It's supposed to teach us humility.
Do you own these underwear? Mm-hmm. Because I've never seen those before.
So I leave my drawers in the middle of the room, which by the way is not unusual because when I was a single man, I learned how to walk out of my underwear on the way to the shower.
Those are women's underpants. I mean, the next thing you know, you'll be wearing a bra on your head.
Okay, so there you go. Underwear Day, and make sure that you enjoy it if that's kind of what you're into. So there you go. Okay, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world. Authorities have arrested 37-year-old Spokane man, Anthony Farcinacci is what I think it is, the last name, on charges of first-degree arson in connection with the Old Trails fire, one of the several major wildfires burning in eastern Washington. The fast-moving fires have scorched more than 10,000 acres, destroyed hundreds of homes and businesses, and forced about 65,000 people to evacuate as part of the latest update. The fires remain 0% contained. More than 1,100 firefighters are battling the Spokane area blazes, while wildfires crews from across the country have deployed to help fight the fires through the Pacific Northwest. Officials were also warning that the public not to fly drones near the fires after several incidents forced firefighter aircraft to temporarily stop operations. Violators will face steep federal fines. So there you go. What do you think here? No, seriously, what do you think? Because, man, it gets interesting, and it gets interesting quick as we start talking about this. It's just one of those weird things that when we start talking about it, you have to go, okay, where are we going to end up going when it's all said and done? I'm just asking the question, because what else are we going to do around here? Okay, so take a listen to this one, because I guess this one's coming up and some people are asking questions immediately. Are you familiar with the state of Wisconsin? No, seriously. Are you familiar with the state of Wisconsin? So, Wisconsin Democratic gubernatorial candidate Francesca Hong is facing renewed attention over the 2020 social media post said, "Cancel Thanksgiving. Should have done this in 1621. During a CNN interview, Hong didn't directly call the ending of the holiday, but said that Thanksgiving can be a painful time for many people because of the historical ties to colonism. While also emphasizing that as a chef, she long used the holiday to bring people together, Hong later told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that the old post was one of the several jokes that she made during the pandemic, and said that her views have evolved. The issue quickly became a political fodder, and opponents criticizing comments and Republican candidate Tom Tiffany, TT, responding to "won't cancel Thanksgiving if elected." Hong is currently among the leading Democrats in Wisconsin, closely watched for the gubernatorial primary. So take a listen to this.
Do you still believe that Thanksgiving should be canceled?
I'm a chef, and one of the first meals that I made that was for the community when I was 16 was a Thanksgiving meal. You know, I always think my hospitality background in owning a restaurant for 7-8 years, that bringing folks around the table to share conversation and build community is always a good thing. But Thanksgiving is also a time that's incredibly painful for many people in our communities. And so I think I wanted to make sure that people understood that there are multiple views, but views can evolve. And the position that I'm running for right now, and I think my background as a chef, will actually help me become a better governor that's able to bring more people to the table.
Okay, so there you go. So don't cancel Thanksgiving was a joke. First meal that they've done, and also the reference portion to, I mentioned it during COVID. So I don't know, interesting time. You can bring more people to the table because you're a chef. I can kind of get that answer. I kind of get it, but I don't really get it. But anyways. Okay, so let's continue going down the path here, talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world. A 38-year-old California man was arrested after authorities say that he was acting suspicious near the President Trump's golf course. Yeah. In Rancho Palos Verdes, just days before Trump was scheduled to attend the Republican National Committee fundraiser there. Investigators say that Janine John Talley was seen taking photos and watching security activity around the property on Sunday afternoon. Deputies detained and reportedly found loaded magazines in his pocket. A search of his vehicle allegedly uncovered loaded handgun and additional ammunition. The investigation expanded to the following day when authorities searched the home in Downey. They say they found illegally modified AR-style rifle, a .45 caliber handgun, body armor, high-capacity magazines, additional ammunition, radio equipment, notebook containing what investigators described as a concerning statement. Also, let's see. Talley was arrested on suspicion of carrying concealed firearm and possessions of illegal ammunition, including hollow point bullets. Authorities say that he's also being investigated in connection with the robbery in a nearby El Segundo. So there you go. There you go. I think it's interesting with some other things going on inside of the world here. Remember a few weeks ago how people were saying don't go to Taco Bell? I mean, outside of the norm thing of don't go to Taco Bell, but don't go to Taco Bell because of the lettuce. You heard this, right? And now we're hearing more and more about produce and all this other stuff. Well, here's one for you. More than 100 people in Minnesota have been sickened by the salmonella outbreak that health officials have linked to jalapenos served at Chipotle and other restaurants. The Minnesota Department of Health has confirmed 110 cases so far, interviewing dozens of patients. Among 90% of those questioned eating jalapenos before becoming ill, leaving investigators to identify the peppers as the likely source of the outbreak. Official caution was the true number of the illness is probably much higher because many people think that with salmonella are never tested. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or the USDA, launched an investigation in late July, while Chipotle says immediately traced the affected jalapenos to a common supply lot, removed what impacted the restaurants and replaced them with peppers from a different grower. The company says that it has fully cooperated with investigations. Health officials say that they are no longer concerned about additional illnesses tied to Chipotle because of the suspected jalapenos and have been removed. But they warned that the contaminated product could still have been distributed to other restaurants. So I got a question for you. Are we mentioning this because of the name Chipotle? Because that's what it almost comes across that way. So if we didn't have Chipotle to mention by name, would that be something else that we would be talking about there? So there you go. There you go. Okay, so let's get into some other things real quick. SpaceX Falcon 9 upper stage rocket is expected to crash into the moon today after spending more than 18 months drifting through space. The rocket launched on January 2025 carrying Blue Ghost and Resilience lunar landers because nearly all of its fuel had been used to send the spacecraft towards the moon. There wasn't enough left to guide the rocket stage back to Earth atmosphere for a controlled disposal. Instead, it was left in a high Earth orbit that crossed the moon's path. Over time, the moon's gravity and solar gravity gradually altered the trajectory, putting into a collision course with the lunar surface. Scientists estimate that the impact will create about an 89 feet wide. While the collision is likely to be visible from Earth, researchers see as a valuable opportunity to study lunar impacts and improve understanding of the risks that space debris could pose for the future missions and planned moon bases. So take a listen to this.
What has happened is essentially a mixture of solar activity and gravity forces have put it on a path towards the moon.
So there you go with that one. So take a listen to this one, and let me tell you this real quick.
WTF. Welcome to Florida.
A Florida steakhouse is betting that less is more. The Class Soiree Steakhouse in Hollywood has launched a monthly new dining experience, inviting customers to eat dinner without clothes for the first Monday of every month. Owner and chef Malrad Ali says the idea is about getting people talking in a tough restaurant business. He says that the event are private, professional, and designed to make guests feel comfortable. Staff members remain fully clothed while diners are given robes, towels, and seat covers. The restaurant has also strict rules, including no one under the age of 18, no touching without consent. Tickets cost $250 for men, $150 for women, or $300 for couples. The city says the diners are legal because they're held as a private event. So it's the only steakhouse where the dress code is don't, and a really mean barbecue. And nothing says medium rare like the customers. And finally, a restaurant where you don't have to loosen your belt afterwards. The hostess says table for two and 2 birthday suits. Would you like a napkin? Yes, everywhere. And they call it a strip steak. For a whole new version there. So some stuff to think about as that is going through. What do you think about this concept? Like, seriously. And I'm just asking the question because how weird is that? Like, how weird is that? You go to a restaurant to be nude. So I'm just asking, if you find a hair inside of the food, is it a bonus?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this one as we are talking, because there's always all kinds of stuff to talk about. A Tesla owner's trip through a cemetery in Greece has gone viral after a car's touchscreen appeared to detect dozens of people walking among the graves. Even though the cemetery looked completely empty, the drivers shared a video showing that the vehicle displays filling the human-shaped icons that weren't visible outside of the car, sparking jokes and theories that online that that the Tesla was seeing ghosts. Similar videos of other Teslas and Li Auto owners have surfaced over the years, showing phantom pedestrians appearing on the vehicle display in cemeteries. The much less spooky explanation is likely the car's camera and sensor systems misinterpreting tombstones and other objects as people. Experts in Tesla-owned documents acknowledge that there are software that can occasionally mistake stationary objects for pedestrians, creating false positives. So while it may look like there were spirits wandering the graveyards, it's almost certainly that the car's artificial intelligence is getting confused, not proof of the paranormal. Could you imagine that? You're all of a sudden sitting in your car doing something, and you take a look in the screen showing that there's dead people walking around, or just people walking around, and there's nobody there, and you're in a cemetery. You're going to think the worst. That is for sure, as we are talking. So what do you think here? I'm just saying. Okay, so take a listen to this one, because this one was interesting to read. A strange controversy has rolled into women's Tour de France. Some female cyclists have been accused of using extra bra padding, dubbed as chest fairing, to make their upper bodies more aerodynamic and gain competitive edge. Aerodynamics experts say that the shape of the chest can reduce drag by as much as 3.6%, which could be significant in elite racing, where races often are decided by a fraction of the second. The idea is changing airflow around the rider's body may improve speed without requiring any extra effort. The allegedly first surfaced in Dutch cycling publication, prompting race organizers to crack down on officials conducted additional equipment inspections before the latest stage. Checking riders' clothing and gear for anything could illegally alter their body shapes. And it's unclear whether anyone was caught using extra padding on a bra, but organizers are taking issue seriously and want to prevent any unfair advantages. So they went from pedal power to padded power, is what it sounds like. Or is this the first time that a bra has been accused of drafting? And the Tour de France has just become the Tour of Cups. And it's not the performance enhancement drugs, it's performance enhancement undergarments. Officials are checking everything, even the other shoulder boulder holder. So there you go. It's the only race where the sports bra might get drug tested. And cycling just became the padded sport, and that's not cheating, that's aerobubistics. So there you go, some things to talk about. Who writes this stuff? Anyway, so let's do this. It is 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so why don't we go ahead and get into our main story right now.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let me talk to you, because there's always some stuff to talk about. There's always some stuff to do. There's always some stuff to put into some consideration as we are doing stuff.
Duh.
So let me bring this up this morning. Let me go ahead and bring this up into what happens in regards of some of the stuff that occurs inside of the multiverse of ours. I will tell you that I remember many, many, many moons ago, I used to have this opportunity to walk around inside of different departments or different portions of the organization that I worked at, and they were multiple locations, so it wasn't like a super difficult thing to go walk around them. And I remember that I would get to have the lovely opportunity of going into the mechanic shop and walking around and doing what we will call, quote unquote, inspections. And when I was doing these inspections, the funny part about the whole thing is that I would get to walk around and take a look at all the things that were going on. And I was interacting with a company that was a transportation business, so it wasn't that difficult. And I would see things from different standpoints. There was luxury car drivers, there was transportation buses, there was charter buses, there was taxi cabs, you name it, they had it in some way, shape, or form as a vehicle. Not autonomous, because really was still being developed at that particular time. I mean, one can argue that's still being developed nowadays, but we'll leave that for a different conversation. But here was the fun part. As we were able to walk around and take a look at stuff, I remember during the audit, we would get to see it as the end user. If you were a vehicle operator, how it looked like when you would bring in the vehicle to the mechanic shop and how everything worked around. Not a problem. And what was the turnaround time? Some people would sometimes get the exact same car back. Some people would get a newer car. Some people would get an older car. It just depends on what was going on. And that was kind of the interesting part about it because the company owned all the vehicles. But let me not get too far into the weeds there. But the funny and interesting part was that there was a line on the actual audit itself that asked the question about if there was any tools that were altered or created within the shop. Meaning that, was there a tool that didn't really exist that the mechanic had created to use for repairs? And the very interesting part was you would get dinged on the audit if such item existed. Now, here's the funny part about the whole thing. And I'm not talking about like dinged like, oh, you lost a point. It was dinged. The product had to be pulled. Conversations had to be had with the mechanic shop, with the actual advisors, and with the actual manager of that department. And sometimes they even tied in the operation people, but we'll leave that for a different day in regards on how that was set up. Outside of that, the interesting part here was that we would have these conversations, and what would go on is you would essentially have somebody get in trouble. Let's just be realistic on what it was. There was never a conversation at the time about what can we do to create such a tool for you to be able to use. There was never that conversation. And let me kind of explain this real quick. I was way too early into this journey to have the common sense to think about that this was an item of need. I was trained at that time in my life to look at it more from an auditing standpoint. So it was those aha moments. Now, here's the funny part, is that not so long after that, I get to hear about these great things called learning teams. And not realizing that if you sit down with the crew, if you sit down with the people actually doing the work, and they explain to you their needs, it changes everything. And the funny part is that the tool that we got so many people in trouble about or caused so many commotions about was something that a learning team essentially would tell you that it was a need. And the reason why we kind of hesitated about doing anything is because we allegedly didn't want anybody to get hurt using these potential tools.
Duh.
So the fun part here becomes this. Why is it that if your management team is willing to listen on the needs of the team members, then it becomes something entirely different? If you're looking at it from an auditor's point of view, then all of a sudden it becomes an aha moment. So when you go in today, if you're not there already, when you go looking into your organization, what mindset do you go in with? Are you going from the approach that you want to help your team and learn and understand? Or do you go in from the approach that you're looking at this and you go, I am more today an auditor than what I am a person that's willing to help? Because I'm going to tell you that if you can change the mentality of those things, you can get further down the path with your crew than you ever will. And it's kind of a weird thing to say out loud, but I'm going to tell you, when it's all said and done, it's pretty amazing on mindset, on going in, on how it can change everything within an organization itself, just by the way that one goes and says, okay, I'm willing to listen. I'm not here to, quote unquote, just to, let's say, fail you.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
You are listening to a renowned safety expert, Dr. Jay Allen, on Safety FM. Changing safety cultures, one broadcast and one podcast at a time. Join the fun on social media and find us on Facebook at Safety FM.
Feel the warmth. Yeah, we will roll out on that water. We will roll out on that water. We will roll out on that starlit summer sea. Yeah, we will roll out on that water. We will roll out on that water. We will roll out on that starlit summer sea.
Right now, you are taking a listening to Beyond Isaac with Starlit Summer right here on the Rated R Safety Show. Currently 45 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out. This song right here is readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the multi. So there you go. We would like to thank Beyond Isaac for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that. So there you go. There you go. Let's continue moving and grooving, talking about some of the things that are going on inside of this lovely multiverse, because that's just kind of what we do real quick. Let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, because that seems like what we need to do right now. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you're going to see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com to write love on her arms. I'm going to tell you, once you go to that website, a lot of things there. A lot of things can change for you, depending on what you take a look at as you are going around inside of that cycle. No doubt about that as we are talking. So there you go. TWLOHA.com to write love on her arms. Okay, so with that being said, still a ton of stuff to go through and stuff that we need to talk about. So there you go. I'm working on something, as I've been telling you, but I thought I was going to be able to tell you. I thought by now I'd be definitely telling you what's going on, but I'm still working out the fine details. But we'll still keep it posted in regards to what's going on. Why don't we go ahead and do this right now? Why don't we go ahead and bring in John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute right now.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Jim. Alex Trebek said, "I just enjoy the moment I'm in. For me, life is a whole experience, not just a series of isolated moments. It's like submerging yourself into a warm bath rather than sticking your toe under the faucet." What a quote. Alex Trebek seemed like a nice guy. He was an excellent host of Jeopardy for all those years. I know there were many people at the network who were concerned they might not be able to fill his shoes when he passed away. I think Ken Jennings was the most brilliant choice. He was on the show as a contestant, and he won the hearts of the nation by being a fun guy and a likable person. I think they did the right thing by bringing him on as the heir apparent. It would have been really tough for anyone else. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
An Indonesian ferry erupted in flames off Madura Island Sunday morning, killing 5 people and leaving dozens unaccounted for.
The Mutiara Sentosa II, carrying 271 passengers and crew, burned rapidly before rescue vessels arrived from nearby ports. Search teams recovered over 200 survivors while authorities began investigating the cause of the devastating fire. Kyle Norris reporting.
A tourist aircraft crashed near Peru's Nazca archaeological site Saturday, killing all 13 aboard, including 11 European visitors.
The Aero Diana plane reported mechanical problems during takeoff before radio contact was lost in the Ica region of southern Peru. Peru suspended all operations for the airline as investigations began into aging aircraft safety standards. Gary Beck reporting.
Ukraine launched coordinated drone strikes deep into Russian territory overnight, hitting Wildberries warehouses and oil refineries across multiple regions.
Strike operations targeting Moscow and St. Petersburg underscore Ukraine's expanding long-range capability
and determination to pressure Russian leadership. Analysts say the shift reflects battlefield momentum as Ukraine increasingly takes the offensive on enemy soil. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Washington is battling its most severe wildfire season in years as 25 fires scorch over 400,000 acres.
The Little Giant and Sinlahecan fires remain almost completely uncontained, while Spokane Complex blazes destroyed 600 structures in days. Tens of thousands evacuated as firefighting crews battle impossible conditions amid extreme heat and record drought. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Cuba's power grid suffered its 6th nationwide collapse when the entire electrical system failed completely Sunday night.
Restoration efforts. Monday triggered a second cascading failure, leaving 10 million residents without electricity, water, or cell service. Thunderstorms complicated rescue operations, while officials blamed decades of neglect and fuel shortages for the infrastructure crisis. Jessica Oakley reporting.
President Trump is considering removing the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. after the Justice Department concluded the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool damage resulted from flawed renovation work.
The DOJ conclusion contradicts earlier theories about intentional destruction and signals administration tensions over responsibility for the incident. Officials debate whether renovation standards were followed before the structural failure that became a symbol of national controversy. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Tensions escalate in the Hormuz Strait as cargo ships face attacks and diplomatic talks continue between Washington and Tehran.
Qatar reports progress on draft agreements while Trump warns Iran time is running short for a deal to end hostilities. American and Qatari mediators circulated potential accord terms through back channels, signaling real movement after months of stalemate. Chris Anderson reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
More hits to help you work. Because to get rich, you gotta work hard.
Yeah, dude, like I just made so much money that I could just sit around on my ass all day and play video games.
Wait, I forgot about Dogecoin.
Dogecoin rules!
Okay, there you go. 52 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1914, U.S. Nicaragua signed a treaty granting canal rights to the U.S. In 1921, the first American baseball broadcast, Pirates 8, Phillies 0 on KDKA Pitts. So there you go. In 1923, the first American to swim the English Channel, Henry Sullivan. So there you go. In 1962, Marilyn Monroe died. Let's see, what else do we have going on? In 1964, the U.S. begins bombing North Vietnam. In 1966, Martin Luther King Jr. stoned during a Chicago march. In 1967, the first time the AFL team beats the NFL team. Broncos beat Detroit 13-7. In 1974, Joan Jett forms the new rock group The Runaways. And in 1975, Philly's first 8 batter gets hits for major league record of 13-5. That all happened back on the dates that I referenced. If you're looking at some celebrity birthdays were going on today, Maureen McCormick turns 70. Patrick Ewing turns 64. Jonathan Silverman 60. And Terry Clark turns 58 today. Just in case if you're wondering about some birthdays that are going on out there. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know because that always seems important. Tonight's Powerball. Are you ready for this? $786 million. $786 million. Here's last night's Mega Million numbers for the $60 million jackpot. It was 14, 21, 51, 55, 65, and the Mega Ball was 21. A parasitic illness known that is going on, which can cause severe explosive diarrhea, is spreading rapidly across the U.S. The CDC says that there have been now 10,468 confirmed cases since May the 1st, with infections reported in 47 states. That's an increase of more than 3,700 cases in just 1 week. So there you go. Also in some other news, New Jersey is suing Amazon accusing the company of using its market dominance to keep pay low and working conditions tough for independent delivery drivers. State officials claim that Amazon's business practices discourage unionization, limits competition for workers, and ultimately led to lower wages and fewer protections for the people delivering packages. Amazon has not yet responded in court allegations, so we'll see what happens going on there. Also, the U.S. military has burned through nearly 80% of its Inceptor for key missile defense systems as commanders warned the Pentagon munitions stockpile is dangerously low, according to source familiar with the matter. So there you go. As we mentioned earlier today, it is National Underwear Day. Let's talk about some other things. Today is also National Work Like a Dog Day. This urges us to charge forth and meet every challenge we face. And then also today is National Oyster Day. Over, 100 different type of this particular species. So I guess you have a different format on how you can enjoy Oyster Day if you're so inclined to do so. So there you go. What do you think? I'm just asking a question. And I'm going to give you one more before we disappear here. A man's warning about a bag of Purina dog food has gone viral as he claimed that it was infested with insects. Jeremy Mooney says that he began noticing small black bugs around his home and then traced the problem back to the bag of dog food that he purchased about a month earlier. In a TikTok video, more than 2 million views, he breaks open several pieces of kibble, claiming that nearly every one contains small insects. He's not the only person to report similar experiences. Social media posts, online forums dating back for years describe other pet owners finding bugs or larvae in their pantry or moss in bugs with dry pet food. However, many commenters and longtime pet owners say that the issue is often linked to the storage conditions of the warehouse or retail stores rather than the manufacturing problem. Purina has previously advised customers who find insects to the product to stop using it, seal it, and discard the bag, and then contact the company for a replacement. The company says it also investigates how the product was stored to determine whether the infestation occurred somewhere in the supply chain before it reached the customer. So there you go. Some interesting stuff to think about. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here on Safety FM with the likes of Sheldon Primus, as he will be talking about the world of safety consulting. If you go to radiobig.fm, I will be going over there and talking about the world of music and entertainment. So there you go. Some things to talk about as we are hanging out. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the multiverse over there. So with that being said, if I can do this, if you're okay with me doing this, I would love to leave you with some words of wisdom. If you're an anxious person, do everything for fun, go to a job interview for fun, exercise for fun, start a blog for fun. Anxiety feeds on importance. Don't treat everything like a life or death situation. So there you go. And if you need some advice for today, remove the tick attached to a dog. First, loosen the tick grip by placing a drop of vegetable or mineral oil on it. Then pull gently but steady on the tick to remove it from intact. Just pulling with tweezers often leaves the jaws and head behind. So there you go. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
On that starlit summer sea.